An increasing number of stray ships dotting the shoreline in Portsmouth in the north of Dominica has been a major focus of public concern for over 3 decades. The town's coastline has been littered with sunken, stranded and abandoned boats since the 1970s, and this has posed serious threats to the environment as well as hindered the socio-economic development of the community. The first ship was washed ashore during Hurricane David in 1979, with other vessels becoming anchored along the shoreline during successive hurricanes, the most recent one being in 2011. After almost 35 years, the removal process has begun to officially rid the bay of 6 derelict ships that have been an eyesore for concerned residents. As part of government's thrust to enhance Dominica's image as a clean nature island, the Ministry of Water Resource Management has commissioned a Venezuelan-Canadian-based company, Carmar, to remove all 6 abandoned ships from Portsmouth's waterfront. Costing approximately $6 million, this project is being managed under a waste disposal agreement signed between Dominica and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Parliamentary Representative for Portsmouth and Minister for Tourism, Honorable Ian Douglas, says this is a historic moment for the people of Portsmouth.
This is tremendous. I mean, we've waited for that in Portsmouth for the last 30 years. Can you imagine the first ship, which was literally where we are standing right now, which has already been removed by the Venezuelans, came ashore during Hurricane David, 1979. And thereafter, we've had a number of ships coming on shore. The last one, the blue one in the foreground here, came ashore last year. And so this has always been an issue for, literally successive governments. Since Eugenia Chelsea's regime, the people of Portsmouth have called for the removal of the ships. And it took this government, again, because of the brilliant foreign policy initiatives, us forging closer alliances with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, that we have actually seen that the removal of the ships have become a reality. That is something that the Prime Minister had been pursuing for a while now, but they had to work out the logistics and get it right in Venezuela to send the team down. We've spoken about that, and we are happy today to see in reality that the ships actually being removed. I mean, the entire bayfront, and Portsmouth, the heart of Portsmouth, and the axis upon which Portsmouth development has always been pinned and always been hinged. The vision for Portsmouth has always been the development of the harbour.
Local environmentalists and fisheries officials have for many years expressed their concern on the negative impact these stray boats may have on the marine ecosystem.
From a marine environmental standpoint, this is a very great activity that is happening here today. It's a relief, and it has been long in coming. These ships on the beach has posed an obstruction to activities of fishermen. But now there is the Portsmouth Fisheries Complex, this is less so. However, they have obliterated and obstructed the beach and has prevented turtles from nesting in this area. The other important thing is that some of these wrecks have been slowly leaking out oil and probably diesel from the tanks into the marine environment, which was not a very good thing at all. It was happening slowly, so it was not very obvious. So right now, they are going to be removing these wrecks and also take care of the diesel and the fuel. So this is not going to be a problem anymore. So this is a very big relief for us, and we are very happy about that.
The issue of abandoned ships has in the past been a popular topic among residents who have been uneasy about the diminished commercial and recreational activities in the area as a result of these vessels. Since the local economy is highly reliant upon tourism, the need to develop and improve facilities to enhance tourist experiences has always been a priority for this current administration. The dismantling of these ships requires considerable financial and technical resources, and this has caused significant delays in the past. But today, the government of Dominica, through its bilateral relationship with Venezuela, has consulted with PDV Caribe Dominica Limited to bring in the expertise of heavy metal removal and disposal professionals, Carmar, to handle this situation. Minister for Water Resource Management, Honorable Reginald Austrie, explains the importance of this intervention.
I speak here as the Minister responsible for Petro-Carib, who are in fact the financiers of that very, very important project for the town of Portsmouth. And while it may be considered to be a simple project, but in terms of the impact on the economy and the impact on the town of Portsmouth is very, very significant. We can consider it to be a second phase of the metallic cleanup waste on the island. If you may recall, some 2 years ago, the Venezuelan government made the resources available for cleaning out the metallic dump site we had in Jimit. And we all agreed that that was a very significant project.
The Honorable Minister says after 2 years of discussions with the government of Venezuela, he is pleased to see the first phase of the dismantling process being executed. Petro-Caribe, he says, is more than just an energy cooperation agreement between countries. In fact, its priorities include social and economic development based on union, solidarity, cooperation and integration between Caribbean and Central American peoples.
Now for Portsmouth, these ships have been sitting here, some of them since 1979, and several attempts have been made or several attempts have been said about removing those ships on the coastline. And for some reason, maybe financial or otherwise, it was never done. So under the Petro-Carib agreement, the government of Dominica made representation to the government of Venezuela and presented a project proposal, and that must have been some 2 years ago. And finally, the project was in fact approved by the government of Venezuela through the Petro-Carib initiative.
The removal of these anchored ships is a complex undertaking, and so stakeholders have consulted with project coordinators at Carmar to discuss best practices for removing and disposing of the abandoned vessels.
The project really seeks to remove all these derelict boats that have been really polluting the shoreline of Portsmouth for the last 30 or 40 years. But we're very, very grateful that finally, after 40 years, we're now having these derelicts removed from the town of Portsmouth. And like I said, it may seem to be a simple project, but it's a very technical project, because in executing that project, we have to take the environmental concerns into consideration. For example, most of them ships have been here, and quite a bit of them still contain fuel, which is diesel. And most of the ships are in the sea. And you have to ensure that in removing those ships, that you do not create more environmental pollution by having oil spills and spills like diesel. So it's a project that has to be professionally done. You have to have high quality professionals who understand what exactly they're doing and who understands what the negative impact can mean to the environment.
Carmar is a Caribbean group corporation specializing in environmental cleaning projects with offices in the US, Canada and Venezuela. The company operates under the slogan, "Saving the planet one country at a time." Safety coordinator and spokesman of Carmar, Johnny Allen, gives an overview of the company.
Carmar is a group that is involved with many projects here in Dominica and also in Venezuela. We have large experience in many entrepreneurs with projects. We have had previous experience in this endeavor with ships and ports, and working with civil construction, oil industry projects also. And now we are here in Dominica.
Water Resource Management Minister Honorable Austrie says government has full confidence in Carmar based on its track record in recycling and disposing of metal waste. He assures those concerned that the ships will be removed and disposed of under strict environmental guidelines.
In fact, that company was contracted out of Caracas, and we have been advised that that is a professional company, a company that has been used to taking on such projects, not only in Dominica, but in Venezuela and in other parts of the world. And based on what we've seen so far, we're very confident that these guys can execute this project with minimal environmental pollution, environmental damage, and of great satisfaction to the people of Dominica. So we're very, very happy to finally having this project being undertaken.
Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, DASPA, Binwa Badwell says his office is fully involved in the project to ensure that environmental procedures are followed for the safe removal of the wrecks.
It's a distinct pleasure for me today. I'm playing a dual role, one as the CEO of DASPA and secondly as the receiver of wrecks, responsible for the safe removal of all the vessels in the harbour in Portsmouth. As you know, we have had vessels here since 1995 after Hurricane Lewis, and there have been several attempts to have these boats removed without much great success. And today, as we're seeing that these boats are being removed with a very professional duty being placed on it. My role as the receiver of wrecks is to ensure that these wrecks are removed, and as well as not only physically removed, but that the environmental aspect of the removal does not further contaminate or destroy the environment. So we have a sort of monitoring group which comprise of the solid waste, environmental health, we have the mayor of Portsmouth, and we have fisheries department to ensure that we constantly monitor the progress of the work being done here. A lot of care and attention has been undertaken to develop this program to ensure that we are not further jeopardized environmentally with the removal of these boats.
Acting Chief Fisheries Officer Harold Geest also explains his department's involvement in the boat removal project.
We have had meetings. In fact, we just coming from a meeting with the contractors that during the removal of the wreck, that every precaution is taken to avoid any spillage of oil or any such fluid into the marine environment. And they have satisfied the requirements in terms of the procedure that they're going to use to be able to remove the wreck, that this aspect of spillage, every precaution has been taken. So we are satisfied that they will do it without having this type of problem.
Carmar's safety coordinator Johnny Allen says the company has put in place a series of safety procedures for this exercise while taking into account Dominica's environmental protection policy.
Our first step into getting into the project is safety. That's how you can see around. Safety not only for the personnel but also for the community. The fences around and the signs around are basically to protect our people, okay, and Dominican people also. And then the process will be, once we rearrange the facilities to access these ships, we will just continue with a procedure, simple procedure to cut the ships from up down, okay? Again, I emphasize our procedure is cutting up from down. One of the reasons why we're doing this is to reach and access the diesel tanks, because that's our main concern as far as environmental impact, because we are here openly aware that Dominica is pretty much aware of its environmental mindset in the island. So that's the reason we're going with this technique, cutting from up down, in order to minimize the impact of diesel or oil leaks into the country and into the sea waters of the country. We're going to be cutting, usually we cut pieces of the steel in certain sizes that our cranes can handle it, and then they are removed into an area where the final will be disposed, and then the government would handle the final disposal of this material.
The Minister for Water Resource Management says after almost 4 decades, it is good to see this government finally taking a lead in effecting the disposal of the stray boats in Portsmouth.
We must recognize the ingenuity of our Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, who really was the architect, not only in terms of identifying the need to have those ships removed, but also to convince his Venezuelan friends that we needed that money. That money was in that project is in fact very, very important for the development of the country, and so to have Venezuela accept the request made by the Prime Minister and to make the funding available, that today we can begin to see the beginning of the end of those ships on the Portsmouth shoreline.
Parliamentary Representative Honorable Ian Douglas says the Portsmouth Harbour has always been an integral part of the community, as it plays a significant role in the economic development of residents of the north.
Because Portsmouth is a natural harbor from Point Rong all the way back to the Cabrits. You have the cruise ship berth, you have the yachting section, you have the fisheries complex, which has just been built and finished and looking very good. You have there used to be the old jetty attached to the Borough Square, where the boats will now use the Longhouse Wharf to carry produce, fresh produce from the Longhouse Wharf onto Guadeloupe, Antigua, Anguilla, St. Martin to the north on a weekly basis. Comes from Longhouse. That used to happen at the jetty at the Borough Square.
Preliminary dismantling work for the removal of the ships began in January 2012. According to Honorable Reginald Austry, Minister for Water Resource Management, the entire removal project is expected to be completed by the end of May. Following the clearing of the 6 derelict vessels, Portsmouth Bay will regain approximately 3 miles of shore, which will be accessible to the people of Portsmouth to develop projects that will pump revenue into the local economy. Honorable Ian Douglas says this new development will benefit residents in the entire Northern District.
Because, I mean, everybody from Marigot come all the way back to Wesley, Woodford Hill, Calibishi, Vickers, Capuchin, Collier, comes down to Portsmouth to do business, come down to Portsmouth to use the market, come down to Portsmouth to buy their fish. The tourism, I mean, you can see the yachts in the foreground. We are in the heart of the yachting season, and we have, I counted about 50 yachts yesterday, and I'm sure there are about 60 of them there right now. The Indian River Tour Guides and the Portsmouth Association of Yacht Security Guides have actually started an additional tourism activity, which is called the Sunday Barbecue, where they hold a big banquet down at the Purple Tickle area, where they have their own facility right now for the yachties, and the yachties buy their tickets of their yachts during the week, and they come on shore on Sunday night to partake in the banquet. It's called the Sunday Night Barbecue. So all those various issues that help to boost the economic activity in the town is tied to the development of the bayfront.
Over the years, Portsmouth has become a hotbed for tourist activity. The town not only boasts some of Dominica's best beaches, it also has several great attractions and historic landmarks which make it an ideal spot for stayover tourists. Popular sites such as the Cabrits National Park, the Indian River, and the growing yachting industry are a few touristic highlights that continue to attract visitors to the northern town. With plans to raise the town's profile as a prime tourist destination, the Portsmouth MP, along with other stakeholders, have created what they refer to as the Portsmouth Development Plan, a document which gives details of infrastructural enhancement projects aimed at improving the income-generating potential of the people of Portsmouth. Honorable Douglas says the contribution of the residents of Portsmouth and surrounding communities has been integral to the drafting of the development plan.
About 2 years ago, I commissioned what was called a town hall meeting, a big town hall meeting of all the citizens of the town. And from that town hall meeting, the town nominated about 6 persons, 6 prominent, knowledgeable persons to sit on a committee to compile all of the information, all of the developmental information that we have had in Portsmouth for as far back as 1968. Now, if you go back to 1968, when E.O. Libla was in power, we were speaking about the development of the Cabrits. We spoke of the Shankland and Cox report, which was a report commissioned by the colonial government to do a report on the development potential of Dominica. Said that the Cabrits and the Portsmouth area has the most potential for development. Now we're talking about 1969, 68 when that report was done. So we have always lived in the hope of seeing that dream come to fruition and that dream being realized.
He also emphasizes the important aspects of the plan.
And that plan has in it the bayfront development, that plan has in it administrative buildings, so that we can move some of the services that are available in the capital down to Portsmouth. I believe that my people should not leave Portsmouth and pay $30 to go to Roseau for a driver's license, to go to Roseau for a passport, to go to Roseau for a birth certificate at the registry, to go to Roseau for an inland revenue exemption certificate in this day and age where we have information technology, we have the internet, we have the e-government system, which is really the intranet, which is the government e-system that's supposed to be able to allow you to access those services right here in Portsmouth that are available in Roseau. and that is the vision that we have for the development of Portsmouth. So that is one little step, but a giant move towards developing Portsmouth in that direction.
The tourism minister also gave a brief description of the concept of the Bayfront Development Project.
So we want to take from the new fisheries complex at the market, and we want to reclaim some land. Like we're here right now, the sea used to be here, the beachfront used to be here. We can set it up all the way down probably to the Indian River, where we can do commercial space, very much probably like the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard in Roseau, but we want to do more tourist real estate. So you have souvenir shops, bars, restaurants. You have a boulevard where persons can walk, where the tourists can walk and stroll along the boulevard, which will complement the Moroccan hotel, which we are doing, which will complement the cruise ship berth. So if you have a boardwalk from the cruise ship berth onto the Moroccan hotel, onto Purple Circle, and then we have the Bayfront development, and even for us in the town too, in Portsmouth, for the citizens of the town, that will give us extra and additional commercial space so that we can really develop the center of Portsmouth as the commercial hub, not only of the north but of Dominica in general. And that is the vision for the development of the town, and we are actually seeing it materializing here today.
The development plan for the town of Portsmouth has already been presented to Cabinet for approval. The Portsmouth MP says now that the plans have been completed, it's just a matter of time before funding can be secured to embark on this new rehabilitation project.
And the Prime Minister and government and Cabinet commissioned CEP Consultant Partnership, Engineers Partnership, to do sort of drawing of the developed bayfront. And we have that right now, and we're looking at that so that when the Prime Minister goes on his various trips, he can actually walk with a brief. And that had not existed before. Before we spoke about the development of Portsmouth and development of the bayfront. But we never actually had a vision in terms of drawings of what exactly we wanted the bayfront to look like. So as soon as we move the ships, we can approach maybe a friendly government again like Venezuela, or maybe another international partner of ours to provide the funding so we can actually do the development of the bayfront. And these are some of the things that we're working on in Portsmouth.
The removal of the ships will also bring closure to the age-old concerns from conservationists about the health of the local marine environment. Harold Gist from the Department of Fisheries says the disposal of the vessels will allow for a more conducive habitat for the growth and development of marine life.
Now the removal of this wrecks is going to allow the turtles that frequent this area. It's the hawksbill turtle, the green turtle, and to a lesser extent the leatherback. So it is going to allow these animals to be able to lay their eggs and to do what they normally do in the natural environment. So that is very good. And aesthetically, it has been an eyesore, and then therefore, hopefully, on the removal of all of these wrecks, we're going to have a lovely beach that people can use, recreation can take place, and also turtles can nest.
Mayor of Portsmouth, His Lordship Clive St. Jean, had words of thanks for the government of Dominica and the Carmar Group Corporation.
We want to say thanks to the government and the people of Venezuela for coming here and doing this work for us, because this has been a problem that we've had and a stumbling block for 30 to 40 years in Portsmouth. And really, as a people in Portsmouth, we can really say that we are reclaiming our vision and our dream for the place. Because part of our vision is to have a fishing town, is to have a tourist town. I mean, as you can see at the back of me, you can see yachts down in the harbour. We have 50 to 100 yachts at any time of day during the season. And while we invite people here to Portsmouth, I mean, this really, to put it matter of factly, is unsightly, and it is something that we've been saying that we want to remove and we have to remove, but probably we didn't even know how to remove it and how to begin with it. And today I've been at the seminar with them and the conference with them, and they've explained, and you can see they've put a lot of thought into what has to happen in terms of protection for health and safety, protection paramount for the environment, because as you know, one of the boats are located close to the Indian River, and the Indian River is an important place for everybody in Portsmouth. I mean, it draws millions of dollars into the town every year, and they have put a lot of thought into what they're going to do at the Indian River and to make sure in terms of the environment it is protected So really Portsmouth can say that, hooray for today. We're recapturing our vision, we're recapturing everything that we want for Portsmouth for our future generation. When the first boat came here, my mother worked at the post office and I was a little boy. And today, to come here today and be part of the process to remove it, I mean, it is a very, very good thing for the town.
By March 2012, there were only 2 wrecked ships left to be removed. On March 29, government and Venezuelan officials, including Venezuelan Ambassador, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva, visited the site to assess the work that has been done so far. Within a few months, the Portsmouth shoreline will once again be restored and transformed into a more environmentally friendly and aesthetically pleasing waterfront that will stimulate economic activity in the north of the island.